Hey everybody, real quick, if you need a recap of Twisted Metal Season 1, I've got you covered. Just hit the tab in the upper right-hand corner. It'll take you right to it. Now we'll start off Season 2 with Quiet linking up with John's sister, aka Dollface, and her crew. And Dollface's whole mission is to disrupt the milkmen and make life a living hell for the insiders, and she is very, very good at it. One of the ways she does this is by attacking medical supplies. Because if the insiders can't get medical, well, you need your medicine. After one such hit, which was a big success and a large part of it was thanks to Quiet, Dollface announces that her next attempt at disrupting life is going to be to take down the wall of a major, major city and make those insiders see what life on the outside is like. But for Quiet, she's not a big fan of that idea. She's worried that a plan like this is not only going to cost the group valuable supplies, but also probably a few of the members. Because taking on a major, major city, you're going to have casualties. But for Dollface, it's like a horse with blinders. She's not really listening to it. She's just focused on getting the job done. And speaking of focus, that's pretty much what John has been up to. Focusing on training for Calypso's big competition, although it's not because he wants to win, it's because he's being forced to train. He's being forced to train by the new Raven. The old Raven seems to have been reassigned, and this new Raven is way more cutthroat. She's not as lenient on John as the Alpha Raven, as she calls her, and she doesn't take any shit. She's so concerned with John fleeing New San Francisco that she has him tailed and followed as he does his day job, a pizza delivery guy, to make sure that he will come back and train. Training on a video game. You might have heard of it. One of them's called Twisted Metal. It's weird, though. They don't have him training with Cruisin' USA. Like, that's a classic. Anyway, I'll digress. And because of all of this, John has no problem letting the new Raven know, yeah, I'm not a real big fan of you. Where's the old one? She was cool. And she has no problem reminding John, yeah, if you try to escape, you'll still be in my grasp. If you feel joy, it's because I want you to feel joy. And she punishes him by doing the worst thing imaginable, taking away his DVDs. With John now confined to his childhood home without his DVD collection, he is bored out of his mind. He's got nothing to do. So he turns to the one logical thing that you, I, and everybody with a brain cell would turn to, the Babysitter's Club, the classic book series from the 80s and 90s. His sister had the entire collection, and John breezes through them. He loves them. He can't get enough. The problem is, when he finishes book 88, the next book he has available is book 90. He's missing book 89. And that is a huge issue, because in 90, they introduce a whole new girl to the Babysitter's Club, and he needs to find out her backstory. So he goes searching the house for book 89, and that forces him to go into his childhood bedroom, which he shared with his sister. Now, John hadn't been in that childhood bedroom since he moved back in the house. It just had too many scars. But the Babysitter's Club, that was enough motivation for him to finally open the door. Now, the good news is he does end up finding book 89. The bad news is his sister hollowed it out and put weed and a cigarette in there, so he's not going to get the backstory anyway. But as he's lighting up that joint, he notices his sister's diary, and he starts skimming through it because, hey, maybe that's good reading. And what he finds out is his family had a cabin, and she actually drew a map. It's not a great map, but it's a map nonetheless. That's not the only map she drew, though. She also drew a map of the sewer system, because when he was a kid, John loved the Ninja Turtles. He was obsessed with them. And obviously the Ninja Turtles, they live in the sewer. He wanted to be a Ninja Turtle. So she, trying to be a good big sister, drew him a map. And that gave him a great idea on how he's going to escape. He heads downstairs and he writes a note for one of the security guards named Chester to meet him in the bathroom. And when Chester does, he finds John is showering. But that's by design. John is showering because he doesn't want Raven to overhear the conversation that he wants to have with Chester. That's how paranoid he is. And he forces the security guard into the shower with him. John doesn't seem to be clothed. The security guard fully is, so get your head out of the gutter. He tells Chester all about the sewer system, all about this map that he has and how the sewer system leads to the bay. It's an easy way to escape. Chester doesn't really want to break the rules, but John is pretty convincing, and the two formulate a plan involving Chester, who's a pretty big guy, swapping uniforms with John. I mean, Chester looks absolutely ridiculous. But the sewer system thing was all a bait and switch. He tells a few other security guards, along with Raven, that John is planning to escape through the sewer system as John, dressed up in Chester's security outfit, heads back into the warehouse where he usually trains, Raven is located, and more importantly, the garage with all the cars is. At first, he comes across a car that he thinks is Evelyn, but when he pulls the tarp off, it's not, although it is a really, really good-looking car, and it is pretty clear that it is ready for battle. Then John sees the car that he's actually going to use to escape. It's an ambulance. Although when he opens up the back of it, he is shocked to find that there is somebody in there. John actually has a pretty good idea of who she is because Raven let it slip. Her name is Kelly, and all John knows is that Raven cares for her a lot, but the backstory is actually sad. Raven and Kelly were girlfriends back in high school in 1998. Raven was this goth chick, and Kelly was kind of her Robin to the Batman. At a graduation party one night, Raven was just screwing with kids using tarot cards, trying to scare them. Kelly was assisting, but when she went up on the roof, she fell, hit her head, and now she's a vegetable, essentially, being kept alive in this ambulance. And Calypso's prize for the competition, Anything Your Heart's Desire, is the motivating factor for Raven to make John work as hard as possible in training. Again, though, John doesn't know all of this backstory. He just sees a body on a gurney being attached to stuff, and he's deciding what to do with it, when all of a sudden there is an announcement, and all of the TVs turn on simultaneously. And it's not just in the building that John's in, it's everywhere. So, Dollface and her group are seeing it. Even Sweet Tooth and Stu get the memo. And of course, Raven is locked in on the broadcast. And the broadcast is from Calypso, alerting everybody to the fact that the competition will start in 1 week. He reminds everybody that the prize for winning this competition is whatever you want, and then he gives the coordinates. For John, he's not planning on being a part of the competition. He just wants to get the hell out of New San Francisco. So he takes Kelly's body out of the ambulance, and he goes to escape. And just a few minutes after Calypso's message goes off the air, Raven is alerted to the fact that the ambulance has escaped and John is in it. But when she hears that an ambulance has escaped, she panics, knowing full well that Kelly's body was in that ambulance. She's pretty relieved when she runs downstairs to find that Kelly isn't in that ambulance anymore. John actually looked out for her. Because of this, though, John is able to successfully escape New San Francisco, and he's on the road. As for Dollface and her group, when they got the message, they were torn on what to do, entering the competition or not. And it's Quiet who convinces the group, guys, we have to enter this competition. I mean, if we go up against a major city trying to take down a wall, we are going to lose resources and manpower. But if we win this competition, we can take down all of the walls. And for most of the group, they seem to be on board with this logic. It does make sense. But then they get alert about an ambulance on the road from New San Francisco, and they go to pick it up. Dollface and her group feel like it's just another medical run, not realizing that John is actually behind the wheel. Although they aren't the only people after this ambulance. After Raven found out that John escaped, she sent 2 men, and they were hot on John's ass. And in an ironic twist, John is only saved because Dollface and her group took out the 2 security guards from New San Francisco because they wanted the ambulance all to themselves. And it doesn't take long before they're able to knock it off the road. John is able to get out of the ambulance. He seems okay until Quiet ends up shooting him in the shoulder. Again. And he's pretty pissed off about it. He's even more pissed off when he finds out that it was Quiet. But Quiet, John, they're both relieved to at least be back in the vicinity because that's all John cared about. One of the main reasons he wanted to escape New San Francisco was to find Quiet. Now he's done it. But then Dollface walks over, shocked. She pulls up her mask and she says, "Is that you? Lionel?" And John, being very confused, says, "Who the hell's Lionel?" He doesn't even know that that's his name. And then John's knocked out by another girl who had no idea what the hell was going on and still thought they were after these medical supplies. Context clues aren't really her thing. Back to Sweet Tooth, though, he also will be entering the competition. He had plans on forming his own competition, bringing all of the deadliest bad guys, if you will, into one area where he would take them all out. but Calypso's competition, it makes more sense.
Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry. It'll be up in a day or two.